One of the circuits that we're working on currently, a 115 transmission circuit, the E1C, which stretches from Ear Falls to Pickle Lake. And it's a very lengthy circuit with really no road access other than at Ear Falls itself and at Pickle. And the crews take sections of that every year, and because it is a radial feed, they do all their work live line, and they take certain sections of it, change the poles, change the cross arms. They're currently working on that.
The E1C, working on the E1C line is a treat all in its own. Out of around 2,300 structures on the E1C circuit, only approximately 800 structures are accessible by a road. To get up there and do your job is very trying. Lots of times we've had to walk machines for 60 kilometers, which took us 7 full working days, 10 to 12-hour days. You're crossing bottomless swamps, rock cliffs, river accesses, all fun stuff like that. So, plus we also haul swamp mats, we call them. They're about 14 feet long timber, and we put across creeks and certain spots to build ourselves little bridges to get across. And in the wintertime we can build ice bridges with snow and that, and cross certain sections of the line where we can't get to in the summertime. As far as emergency, when we're working out there, the conductor's usually all live when we're doing the work that we're doing right now. Sticking 115 is very dangerous. Somebody gets hurt. Before, when we didn't have the helicopter, could be 6-7 hours before you saw a hospital. Now with the helicopter on site, he can have you back in the Dryden Hospital in an hour. So that's huge. Last year we did, I think it was 43 structures on the E1C. We built Winter Road for probably about 46 miles. And then we snow machined in from there into the structures where we're working on. And those structures you can only get to in the wintertime because the swamps and everything else and the lakes, you could not get there in the summer. It'd be impossible to get there in the summer. Working on the E1C and outside just in general on any power line is really fun. It's nice to be and see different terrain every day, get out and about, see some wildlife, do some hard work where you know that normal people might not be able to tough it out with all the black flies in the summertime, then the extreme cold there in the wintertime. Like sometimes we'll be out there 45 below, the wind's howling, and a structure tips over. Well, you gotta suck it up and get that power back on because that's your job. So
the E1C is one of our main jobs in the wintertime, so we can get up there, and it's the only time we can get in there because of the swamps and open water. You have to go across the ice, fly in with helicopter all the time, so the majority of it is all winter access only. My father-in-law, Harold Ellis, worked for Hydro for, I don't even know how many, 34 years? 37 years? Longer than I will, I think.
Well, we didn't build it, we were rebuilding it, but it was a lot different than what it is today. We flew all, in any trouble or anything, we flew with fixed-wing aircraft. We'd go in and work for 2 weeks and then come home for a week. One time we were heading out on Trouble Calm, we never got 5 miles out of town. You had to turn around and come back because the airplane, the engine was gone on the airplane.
This hard hat was given to me by a friend of mine that lives just down the street. It was a brother-in-law of his that had it. He worked for Hydro for 42 years. Spank, you know his name? I don't know.
Don Parr.
Don Parr, and it's quite a relic. It's wool inside, and it looks like it's fiberglass, but I'm not sure what it's made of. But it's about 3 times as heavy as the ones we have now. So. But I've had it for a long time. There's been a lot of people who have offered me money for it and tried to take it out of my office, but it's never gone anywhere, and it's not going to. Did you ever wear ones like this, or were they plastic ones?
When I first started in Hyde, we didn't wear hard hats.
Now you can't even go in the yard without a hat on. So.
When I first started, but we were building towers, we never used a safety belt. We used just your ordinary body belt with your wrenches in it, and that was it. Well, it's a portable telephone that patrolman could climb the pole and hook this on the line. This is HEPC number 7.
And so what do you do with these? You just clip them onto the telephone line?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. A cell phone from way back and a cell phone from today.
This is your typical junction box where you can set up a phone. It's connected to the relay to the line. Insulators and stuff are still here, but the guy could put a phone in here, or he can have his handheld and then clip it on here too. And he could clip on his handheld anywhere along the line if he needed to.
Yeah, I believe it was originally constructed in 1936. and they had 600-man camps, and most of the material was hauled right out of the bush as they built it. They had tractors, like old style Muskie tractors, and horses, I believe. They had because they had the horses in the camp and everything, like 600-man tent camps. These guys living in the bush in tents, building this thing, and then they built houses every, I believe they're 40 miles apart, 20 or 40 kilometers, 40 miles apart.
40 miles apart, for sure.
And they had patrolmen that would actually live in there and patrol the line. Yeah, this is a straitjacket that was found in the Crow River DS building years ago. And apparently the guys would get bushed. They'd stay in these patrol cabins too long. And the boys would have to go in and fetch them, and they wouldn't want to come, so they would actually have to tie them up in a straitjacket and bring them home because they didn't want to come.
It actually happened. They said a lot of the guys would, like I said, when they bring supplies into these guys in the houses, a few of them, when they would see the guys coming on the horses or whatever to bring them in supplies,
Won't fit.
they would run into the bush because they didn't want to talk to people. They were going a little stir crazy,
Yep.
And you could see that if you were stuck up there in the black flies all summer. Winter wouldn't be as bad. It's 40 below, but at least those black flies will drive you nuts in the summer. When that line was commissioned, I think, and it was 1939, then after that, like I said, the houses were built there for these guys to patrol, and they had a main house, and then it would be about 15 kilometers away was a little shack with a tin hell in it, and that's how they would patrol. They would walk from their main house about 15 kilometers, whether it be in the summer through swamps with the black flies or in the winter on snowshoes, spend the night in that house, and then walk back to the main house, spend the night there, and then back the opposite way. But anything they saw along the way, they would pick up. Like if they could pry something up to get the wires up off the ground to keep the power on, till another crew could come in and help them, that's what they would do.
Well, like Darcy was saying earlier, when the patrolmen, when they'd find something, they would do whatever they could to prop. They'd make little tripods or whatever, and trees to put the conductors in, hang them on trees to get the power back on for the night until the crews would come in and help. And then later on in years, they'd fly with fixed-wing aircraft and land in lakes close by. And you'd take a sweet saw, and you'd go in a sweet saw and a brace and bit and the tools on the ground, and you'd make a structure out of whatever you had. You cut a tree down to make an arm, you'd spare insulators, you made it whatever you could work. And some of these little patrol shacks had lots of material in them. There was spare insulators and bolts, and you might have to go down the line somewhere to find something to make it work.
In saying that, the guys are still accessing this by helicopter. You can only take so much in a helicopter.
Yeah.
So I know even in the past few years, we've gone in, found the problem, and had to find the old patrol shacks where you're lifting up the walls, and
Or you
can
find
find some guy steel or something to use there because you can only take so much. You're kind of guessing at what you're going to find when you get there in the helicopter.